one of the most important things is when, if you're investing and you want to, obviously you want to do deals and you want to get, your job as an investor is to, two main jobs, find good deals and raise money. And you want to raise money at the lowest cost that you can. And that's your financial responsibility as CEO of your company. That being said, I strongly encourage new investors to make sure that you are, have the proper experience before you begin raising money. And so my path was doing 25, 30 deals with hard money before I went into raising private money. I'm not saying you have to do 25 or 30 deals, but I think you should have some experience or some really, really good coaching and mentorship before you go into raising money for private capital. Because we've both seen just some really, really, really bad things occur with newbie investors and newbie private lenders. It can get really ugly really, really quick. And that's a lot. That's if you put the cart before the horse, so to speak, and you do some bad deals in the beginning with private lender, word gets around quick. And you just never want to be in that situation. You never want to be in that situation, first off. And so the way you do that is go a little bit slower than you may want to go. And, one thing I tell people, well, I'll pause because I'm going to jump ahead to some other questions. But
so like you, I used hard money for my first deals, and Jet Lending, they funded several of Jamie and I's first deals in Houston, and having gone through that success and in doing those deals, now I had a portfolio, and it was a small portfolio at the time, but I had a portfolio of successful transactions that I could then take before and after pictures and numbers and put together and show a private money lender, or at least a prospective private money lender, hey, look, this is the kind of stuff we're doing. Does this kind of stuff interest you? Would you might want to consider loaning on our next deal? That kind of thing. It not only does it help expedite the relationship building process and helps with your credibility, but also from a worst case scenario, like obviously you always want to pay your loans back, but I think we can all agree that there's a difference between hard money lender and a individual private money lender that has worked for 30 years to save this little nest egg that they have in our IRA. Like the impact's very, very different. So always borrow money diligently, but you want to take care of them, your private money lenders, very well. And jumped ahead there. I don't know, anything else you want to add there?
Yeah, dude, I could talk about this all night long. So one thing that brings to mind is, when I was doing these deals in hard money and that was working out good. And then I'm like, well, I didn't even know private money existed. So then I learned about private money. I'm like, man, that could be really great. Save some money and, have some flexibility. So I began talking to private lenders and began to get some yeses. And I felt, good about it, but also felt the weight of the world on my shoulders. And I remember, coming home one night and telling my wife, I'm like, I've got, a couple lenders that want to invest with me. And she's like, that's great. And I'm like, it's great, but I have this heaviness of like, man, it's a lot of responsibility. And I remember telling her this. I was like, I'm going to go full bore. And this was 2009. Okay. So this is like middle of 2009, where it's a little bit of a scary market, right? It was very scary, to be quite honest with you, because you're seeing all this doom and gloom and foreclosures everywhere. I'm like, man, what if this goes wrong? And I remember telling my wife, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to go for it. And I told her, I said, if something goes wrong, plans don't work out the way that I think they are, I'm like, my lenders are going to get paid no matter what. We'll live on the streets. We'll sell everything. My lenders are going to get paid. So I'm just like letting you know that if I start borrowing this money, that's the commitment.
Yeah.
And she's like, yeah, of course. And so you fast forward to today, and I could say, hey, we've done 500 something deals or whatever. Woohoo, that's wonderful. There's guys that have done a lot more than me. So I'm not bragging about that. And not, I don't want to brag or boast, but one thing that I am very proud of is starting with a credit card that I borrowed against, not knowing anything and not being the sharpest guy in the room, barely getting out of high school, that after 500 plus deals, we've kept a perfect record, okay, with our loan performance with our lenders. And what I think is the most important thing is just that commitment that you have with an investor, meaning not just saying it, but actually doing it, because they can feel that. Okay, they can sense that in what your commitment level is.